Hello and welcome back to Brewer's Bastion, your weekly source for monsters to upgrade your combat encounters from inane to immersive. From colossal beasts to cunning predators, we've got your encounters covered. This week, we're taking to the treetops and cliffsides to meet a creature as chaotic as it is deadly, the Venomspine Drake. Venomspine drakes are distant cousins of true dragons, sharing the great worm's pride and intelligence but lacking their measured focus. Chaotic neutral by nature, they're driven by curiosity, whimsy, and whatever has caught their attention at the moment. One day they might hoard glittering stones, and the next they might disrupt a traveling party, simply for amusement. Their reasoning often hinges on fun, fascination, or a particularly irresistible distraction, making them unpredictable even at the best of times. These drakes favor mountainous forests as their primary habitat. Their weak wings allow for short glides, but don't allow them to stay airborne for long, so they satisfy their thirst for the skies by perching on massive trees or cliff overlooks, often making their lairs near the highest vantage points by which to survey their territory. Mechanically, the Venomspine Drake is a mid to high level threat. Multi-attack options, including a bite, claw, and venomous tail attack that can paralyze foes when used by adult and ancient drakes, keep your combats dynamic, and the drake will often switch targets mid-fight, leaving its paralyzed victims behind to focus on more immediate threats. Legendary actions like a quick claw swipe or a volley of venomous spines let it act outside of its turn, making combat far more difficult even for larger groups that have a turn count advantage. In battle, venom spine drakes rarely focus on a single foe. They lash out with their spiny tails, paralyzing one target before bounding to another, confident in their venom's ability to keep paralyzed creatures at bay. Their arrogance leads them to gloat over immobilized enemies, strutting triumphantly around their helpless victims, and even monologuing prior to consuming its catch if its prey is intelligent enough to understand spoken language. However, this playfulness does often have a purpose. Adult drakes will teach their children how to hunt by weakening their prey in an initial strike and then returning to the scene with their hatchlings in tow, using the now weakened prey as hunting practice for the hatchlings. Though seemingly cruel to the animals or people that serve as their prey, this technique ensures that the hatchlings learn how to use their natural poisons effectively from a young age, and some researchers believe that this practice may account for the venomspine drake's widespread populations, in comparison to their less nurturing draconic cousins. As a DM, running a venomspine drake encounter is about balance, danger, chaos, and personality. Here are 5 tips for running these creatures. 1. Play with verticality. Use cliffs, tall trees, and ledges. The drake loves gliding and leaping to unreachable locations, creating dynamic positioning challenges. 2. Switch targets smartly. Let the drake grapple and paralyze one foe at a time, then switch to additional targets while the first is immobilized. For all of its chaotic energy, the drake is still an intelligent combatant, and ignores non-threatening creatures mid-fight, focusing on the most dangerous foes. 3. Emphasize personality. Have it gloat, play with immobilized prey, or leave the party alive but paralyzed as its attention is taken away by something else. Theatrics make encounters memorable and highlight its chaotic nature. 4. Use group dynamics. Mix adults with young drakes that only attack immobilized victims. Adults can immobilize opponents, teaching the young wormlings to hunt in a safe environment. This creates layered, multi-threat encounters where the adult's attention can remain on the party at large, while paralyzed victims are still endangered by the hatchlings. 5. Integrate the drakes into the world. Beyond combat, let these whimsical show-offs affect entire regions. Maybe they've started leaving defeated adventuring parties alive in order to allow tales of their glory to spread. They could have developed a temporary interest in collecting a particular type of vegetable, and upon learning that the farmer's crops are failing, have decided that they must aid with the harvest. Perhaps they've even taken on a position of rulership over a few villages or towns, where they have established gladiatorial arenas, where they fight criminals for both their own entertainment and that of their subjects. Remember, these creatures are chaotic, but they're not inherently evil. If they are amply entertained or their desire for praise and adoration is met, they're just as comfortable working with humanoid settlements as against them. A Venomspine Drake encounter is more than combat. It's storytelling in motion, where the battlefield is as much a stage as it is a challenge. When you introduce one into your campaign, you're not just adding a monster, you're creating a story, a spectacle, and a challenge all in one. As always, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss a single monstrous moment. For full stat blocks of these drakes, including a more chaotic alternative poison option if paralysis isn't your jam, check out my Patreon. The link's in the description. That's all for today. Until next time, may your wit be as sharp as your sword.